Good morning, everybody. Welcome. Thanks for tuning in. My name is Charles Owen from Paladin, and welcome to the Paladin University. Today, we're going to talk about Paladin spring cleaning. We're going to look for opportunities to take advantage of really diving into your system, how you're using it, cleaning up files, digital files, and things like that. So this will improve business performance. So before I get started, just want to mention that I am recording this. This will be there and available for you shortly after this presentation up on the portal.paladinpos.com site under webinars. If you have any interruptions, feel free, work with your customers. You can always watch this at a later date and pick up where the things that you've missed. Other than that, if you have any questions, there's a question box. Go ahead and feel free to put in questions there, and I'll definitely address those at the end. So let's go ahead and get started. So the agenda, what we're going to learn about today is why do this and what are the potential benefits. Some of the things, what are we going to clear out? We can clear out some of the digital clutter. We also have some operational alterations that we can investigate during this spring timeframe. Some of the computer maintenance that you should be doing all along, but this is a good time again to kind of kick us into gear and work on looking at different opportunities there as well. And then reinvest for greater returns. I'll talk to you about what that is, and then how we can help, how Paladin can help. We have different programs that are able to give you opportunities to just go about doing your business and let us do the heavy lifting. So that's what Paladin's all about. So why do it? So before the digital revolution, spring cleaning meant cleaning out your papers and files and filling up the trash can. But it's still important, even though you are digitized and you have things in a digital format, to go ahead and clear those files out, clear out the clutter. Even the National Federation of Independent Businesses says it's a good idea to ditch old items, get rid of those old files and take this opportunity to really clean the system up, to get the performance you need, to get the space back that you need on your hard drive and so on. So why is this important, and what are the potential benefits? Well, performance improvements, added security and privacy, backup and recovery protection, reduce clutter on the hard drive, keep up to date with current software, always a good idea, help maintain PCI compliancy, that's a must in this day and age, and then just better organization and efficiencies that you can attain by practicing some of this. So those are the potential benefits. What are some of the things that we can do? So here's some of the practical things that you can do. We'll begin with clearing out digital clutter. So on this subject, we have a spot here. So the first bullet says deleting outdated stored purchase orders. Now you probably are familiar with this. When you go into POs and the PO module in Paladin, you're going to see a list of POs. They're either ones that you're currently working on, or they could be in there from the past that you maybe don't want in there any longer. Well, definitely get rid of those. Just make sure they're items that you won't miss if you delete them, because it will permanently delete them, but go ahead and delete those items. What you may not know is Paladin automatically saves your POs. If you forget to save them, or if you don't save them, we'll go ahead and save them on the system, but you won't see them unless you follow this blue line, the blue arrow to the left here. If you go into your PO module under recall purchase order and you select auto save, that's going to show you a bunch of POs you may not know actually exist in your system today. So that lets you clean those out as well. Again, do verify that that none of these are going to be POs and orders that you are going to need to submit before you delete them. Also, canceling outdated sent and open purchase orders. So you may have a fair number of purchase orders that have already been sent that haven't been closed out. Maybe they're sitting on back order. Maybe you thought they were sitting on back order, but they've just been in your system, cluttering up your POs. So go into the PO module and go into purchase orders, and you'll see in there an opportunity to look at all your sent POs and open POs and go ahead and just close them out. So you don't have to delete them, you just close them out. What that'll do is it'll cancel the back order and take those items out of the an order status. For example, if you went into the inventory and you saw them, they were on order. If they're sitting in your sent and still open purchase orders, they still show as on order in Paladin. So that could potentially cause problems when ordering, where it says, hey, you've already got 10 on order. Why do I want to order more? So it's really important to go in and clean all those out. So all your open purchase orders, get rid of the ones that you're not going to be using by just canceling them, canceling the back orders. All right, thinning out electronic communications. Well, this, emails and texts, I've got a ton of emails. I think I have them going back 10 plus years. Doesn't seem to be a big problem, but you can organize them. You can take this opportunity to take them out of your inbox, for example, and create directories in your email and just highlight multiple items at once and drag them over and put them into the respective buckets and or folders. That will really help you clear things out and clear out the clutter in your inbox. And then texts, there's a lot of images saved in texts. So if you have images that are taking up a lot of your digital space, you can get rid of those texts and it will resolve that. But if you want those images, definitely save them to your phone or your cloud somewhere so that you'll have those images, because once you clear the text out, they're gone. And then in your computer systems, clearing out old temp files. Now it's usually under the C drive, under TEMP or TMP. These are files that your system no longer needs. They were there for a reason. Check them out. Oftentimes it's just things that are there because a program saved it to the temp file and you don't necessarily need to have it. Don't quote me on this, but I don't think removing anything under those temp files is going to cause a problem. But do clarify if you have a technical person around, just make sure that you're okay on that front. But if you need help, contact Paladin support. We have some scripts that we can run that clear all that out, and that could take some of that burden off your shoulders. Last is our stored quotes, on holds, and special orders. So these tend to really build up in the system over time, and that's precisely why we created a new setting under the File Setup Invoice Store tab, where you can go in and set your deletes to your quotes to automatically delete after a certain number of hours, or I'm sorry, days. I'm getting distracted here because I've got a cough here, so bear with me a second. I'm going to put myself on. All right, back in line here, or online. So let's go ahead and yeah, so you can go ahead and go into File Setup Invoice Store tab, and at the very bottom it says delete stored quote after so many days. Well, if you put a number of days in there, you might put 7 days, 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, whatever it might be. And then at that time, if a quote is in the system that long, it will just wipe it out. It'll be cleared out of the system. It will not be stored anywhere or backed up anywhere. So make sure that when you set that, you give yourself ample time. And if you set it to 0, which comes default, it will never remove the stored quotes. They'll be in the system forever. We don't have that auto delete for on holds or special orders, because those items are automatically deleted once the invoice is completed. So you shouldn't have a lot of those sitting around the system that aren't current. All right, let's move on to the next slide. So this is a continuation. So this one is a big one. This is probably one of the biggest areas that's going to hog your disk space. It's the backup files from Paladin. So these run automatically, or they should run automatically through a Microsoft service in your system every midnight. You may also run them multiple times during the day, you know, it's very likely. These are all stored under the C prompt Paladin POS/backups. There might be an icon on your desk as well, or there should be, that has a little Paladin icon on it, says backups. You can get into the file that way as well. Once you're in that file, and this is primarily on the server terminal 1, whichever one is doing the backups at night, and or terminal 2. So what you will do is make sure that you save. If you're getting rid of old backups, that's fine, but save the first of the month backup and the last of the month backup. So if you need to restore data from any time in the past, and I would go out as far as a year of saving files, at least the last 12 months of saving 2 different backup files, one that was performed on the 1st, and one that was performed on the 31st. Very important. Save those files just in case you need them for whatever reason. And I don't see any reason to keep more than a year ago, but it's whatever you feel comfortable. And I don't know that there's a whole lot you can do a year past plus, but again, it's there for your option. But you're going to see a lot of disk space cleaning here, because when we make a backup at least once a day, and sometimes, you know, depending on your database size, it could be under a gigabyte, it could be multiple gigabytes. It can really start tapping into your available space on your hard drive. All right. So from operational perspective, there are some, you could take this opportunity as well this springtime to really kick into gear, not only cleaning out digital files, but also looking at your operations and reevaluating your goals and objectives for the current year. So if you're following our best practices, you know, for your storages for retail in general, you'll have goals listed out on a you know, 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. You know, just something simple. Now we actually give you a cheat sheet of goals, questions that we ask you, and you can go ahead and fill out this one-page business plan that we have on Retail Science. I'll show you in the next slide how to get there. So it's just really important to lay out the path for your success. What do you want to accomplish this year? If you don't write your goals down, if you don't set up objectives to have for throughout the year, you're just gliding along. You're not in charge of your destiny. So definitely you should have some sort of a one-page business plan. Also, if you've gotten complacent or lazy, or you just don't do cycle counting anymore, we're huge advocates of doing cycle counts on a daily basis. Just pick a forfeit section, you know, 15-minute section, just count it. The next day start from where you left off, and so on. This is the best practice, the easiest, the simplest way to keep control of your inventory and shrinkage. So that way, at the end of the year, rather than hiring everybody to come in and work all night with you know, a case of Coca-Cola and some tacos, you know, you could just press a button. And at the end of the year, just say, what's my inventory valuation summary today? Which, by the way, you can do at any time. You don't have to do it at the end of the year. But this is just a good practice. And then if you're not using suggested ordering, and you know, probably half of our customers use it, the other half don't use it. The half that use it love it, swear by it. It's something that's really helping them maintain the optimal stocking supply for their inventory, and it's going to really help you to reduce your overstock, you know, to bring it way down, and to also fill the holes where you have where you might be losing sales opportunities. It's something that you can implement pretty easily. It can be perfected over time. It doesn't have to be perfect day one. If you've never used it and you run your suggested order for the first time, you may get a lot of stuff that shouldn't be there. Well, that's fine. That's normal. You just tweak it so the next time you run it, it's more perfect. The next time you run it, it's more perfect. And then, you know, a month or two into it, you're running suggested ordering, you know, 20 minutes before your order's due, and everything's, you know, everything's great. So it can really help you with your order and reduce the amount of time that you spend. But more importantly, it's going to make sure that you have the products on the shelf that you're selling, and not having a bunch of non-performing assets sitting on the shelf as well. So definitely reevaluate, looking at suggested ordering. Also, it's a good time of year to get your receivables in check. You know, print the accounting summary report. You can do that anytime. It doesn't have to be just with statements. You go into the reports module, into accounting, and in there is the accounting summary report. And that will tell you exactly where you're at, what your liabilities are. And you can, at that point, take that list and start working your customers to try to get them current. And then lastly, you know, for inventory management, you might want to run the slow movers report. Look at what items aren't turning in your system and be able to take those and replace those with items that do turn. We have a webinar on how to automate this process. So let's say you've identified 100 products. These 100 products are all ones that you want to remove out of your inventory and sell off, and then bring in and replenish with either a new line or just other products that are more guaranteed to sell versus the ones that are just sitting there doing nothing. There is a webinar called Tips and Tricks, Cascading Sales Can Brighten Your Holidays, where you can take a group of products. In this case, it just talks about maybe a Christmas group of products, and you can put those in a class or a department that's very specific to whatever that grouping is, whatever that line is. And then when you're getting close to that time when you want to start selling off, it can automatically cascade through different sales. So, you know, the first, 6 weeks before the end of the year, 6 weeks before Christmas, for example, you can start hey, 10% off. And then when it gets to 4 weeks, you can go, hey, 25% off. 2 weeks before Christmas, 50% off. Christmas, 75% off. And the cashiers don't have to do anything. Nobody has to do anything in the system. These are all pre-set up. Takes minutes to do. You just set the date range and the percentage, and you just wait for that midnight clock to hit, and then the price changes. All right, let's move on. We're going to go back and look at that one-page annual business plan that I mentioned. So you can go to paladinpointsell.com/retail science/ well, you just get to retail science, and you'll see it. It's at the very top under the retailer's toolbox. And in there are several documents that should be helpful to you. One is the one-page business plan, and it says things like, what are your business name and overview? How does your business positively impact your community? So we just kind of go through and list out, how are you going to grow your store? What are the opportunities that you have? And then with one of those questions says, how does your what are your business's top 3 goals for the next year? Well, those goals you can turn into a project. Well, how do you do a project? Well, just follow the profitable project worksheet that we have in the system. There's an outline there for you to create projects. So it's a very simple way to communicate to your staffing, hey, here's our goals, this is our plan, this is how we're moving forward. And by the way, these are the projects that we want to implement. And you can give each one of the projects to somebody who you feel would do a good job at executing on those projects. One store owner I found that he says, my employees come to me all the time with great suggestions, and I always say, well, just go and print out the profitable project worksheet and fill it out and submit it, and we'll vote on it. So it's a great method. And there's other tools there as well, like a GMROI calculator, as well as some other useful information. All right, so let's get to computer maintenance. So this was, I thought, a funny comic. So it says, an update is available for your computer. And if you're a Linux user, it's like, cool, more free stuff. Windows user, oh no, not again. Well, I've seen that. And then Mac, oh, only $99. So it's kind of funny. There are a few things here that, and we want to be careful about this, right? Because there's certain times you get Windows updates where you're that person in the middle picture there. No, not again. My printers aren't working. Microsoft does a few things that may affect people's lives and maybe don't realize it until it's too late. Unfortunately, we feel the full impact of that being a support organization when it comes to Windows updates. So do be careful when you upgrade your Windows. But if you're managing the Windows application before you jump, maybe contact Paladin and say, hey, do you know of any issues with this version of Windows or with this particular build that Windows has? Definitely check in with us on that, but it's always best to stay current. We're a Microsoft Gold certified partner. We have to be current on all the Windows. That's why we're certified for Windows 10 and 11. Also, there's some other cool little nifty components that are more for the hardware, and that is if you're using a Dell computer, which most of you are, there are Dell drivers that can be updated. And every once in a while, Dell will just pop in a message saying, hey, we have new drivers. You want to go ahead and load them? And it's always a good idea to stay current with the Dell drivers as well. And then, verify that your Paladin software is up to date. This is, you may not know this, but each one of the Paladin terminals is a different copy of the software. So every single one can have the same version or different versions. So there might be some in an obscure location that may not have access to the internet when we go in and request an update. And if that's the case, it may be on an older build. So check your builds, make sure that your current build is up to date for Paladin at all of your stations, not just one. Current build ending in 4963.4 is available to all stores, including all general releases across the country in every time zone. So make sure you're current with that. All right, so let's get into reinvesting for greater returns. Invest in your technology. You only get out of a system what you put into it. And if you just buy something and let it go stale, it's not going to continue producing for you. You're going to start losing performance. You're going to start having problems with your equipment. There's only so long of a half-life on this equipment. They are mechanical. They do have problems. So make sure that you're continuing to upgrade your computer devices and look at a life between 3 and 5 years, right? 3 years on the, is a good time to start considering moving to a new computer. But for the CPUs or the terminals themselves, every 3 to 5 years, make sure you're cycling through those. And you don't want to do everything at once because that's a huge hit on your budget. So you want to say, okay, every 6 months, we're going to replace one of the older machines, the ones that 3 year or 4 year or 5 years old. And start with the ones that you're having problems with performance, or they're starting to fail, or you're starting to lose confidence in them. This goes not only for computers, but also for the peripherals, like the scanners, the printers, and things like that. You all know when things start going wrong with these devices, and it's usually at year 3 when the warranty starts tanking and going out on you, is when you have to replace them. So just know that you want to make sure to reduce your disruptions, keep up to date with your hardware, and then invest in some training as well. It's in consulting potentially. There's several self-help tools in Paladin that can help walk you through some of the features in Paladin. But the best thing is, spend an hour an update with me or somebody else from Paladin, where they just say, hey, can you just share with me some stuff that I may not be doing correctly, or some things that I may not be taking advantage of, or here's how we're doing deliveries or special orders or serial number tracking. Is there a better way? And there typically is, oftentimes, and you won't know until you talk to somebody or start doing some research yourself. And it's really a smart idea to continue to evolve when it comes to your knowledge about the Paladin software. That's the reason you're here today, and we're excited that you're here. I really enjoy the fact that you are spending the time listening to me pontificate on all of the spring cleaning things, but it is really important to stay current with training. There's so much more out of the system that you can get, but again, you need to put the time in to be able to figure out what you want to do. All right, moving forward. So the next section, we're going to go into some of the areas where Paladin can help. So if you've been on the system for 10 years, you've got a database that's 10 gigabytes or more. We have them up to 20 and larger. It works just fine. But if it starts taxing your system when you get so much data in there. And when I say taxing it, it's going to push you to adding more memory or going with a bigger computer that has more power to be able to handle the sheer amount of data in your system. So what we've done is we've devised a solution that takes all the old stuff out of your system, all the heavy images, all of the past cache sales and things of that nature that seem to clutter up your hard drive. And it honestly is a performance benefit. Swifter has turned people's lives around, where some people say, hey, when I used to go in to do an advanced lookup search, it would take X amount of seconds to bring up. Now it's sub-second. And it's like, yeah, that's the kind of responses that we see. So not only can throwing hardware and RAM and things like that add performance, but by reducing the clutter in the Paladin system, it just frees it up to attack more faster. So you get faster searches, faster backups, faster reporting, faster ordering. All of that is just so much faster. And we have dozens of people that'll attest to this, that will give us a testimony on how much it's changed their life. All right, so let's move on to what Swifter does. So we take a backup of your original data and we keep that for you. It's always placed on your business network, on your system, on your file system somewhere, so you can get access to data in the past. That's the biggest fear people have is, well, if you get rid of this stuff, how do I find it for, if I need to research it? Well, number one, I think we save up back 2 years and maybe 18 months to 2 years. I forget exactly what the time frame is, but if you need to go back further, we can restore that database and get that information for you. It's not a problem, but it does really help optimize your system. So that's what we do. We save the backup of your entire backup of your system, and then we perform the Swifter that goes ahead and cleans out all your data. It doesn't get rid of any invoices for known customers, for charge account customers. It does not get rid of that information, just cash sales. And in the history, not as of today, but 18 months to 24 months ago. So there is a service for this. It takes us quite a few hours to go through, at least a couple of days to go through and run this and verify it, and then we can actually see and show you performance before you even write a check of how much faster it's going to be on your system. But it is $499 for our services. Do consider it if you've been on the system for more than 5 years, and or if you just you notice that there's a lag time. Maybe you have bringing up certain things, like bringing up past historical invoices and such. We can speed that up. All right, so what else do we do? So we also have a managed updates, managed service as well. And this lets us deal with the Windows issues, right? So rather than you having to determine, oh, is this the right time to upgrade Windows 10 or upgrade to Windows 11? Paladin will test and verify it. We'll make sure that the pending updates are not going to blow your system up. And this is in most cases, not in all, because Microsoft does have updates that are forced against your will for whatever reason, but generally they don't affect any drivers or anything like that. So hopefully they're just security updates that won't really have any negative attacks on your system or repercussions. All right, security updates. So we do the Windows 2, we protect your computers, and then PCI compliance. We install the latest security patches to keep the computer updated, to secure that to make sure that your PCI compliance is up to date. And this service is a monthly charge. I don't know what the monthly charge is, but I'm sure it's available in the Paladin store. We do post all of our prices out for the world to see. So if you just go into store.paladinpos.com or go to the Paladin point of sale website, at the very top it says other websites, or just says websites. You'll see Retail Sciences in there, the help portal's in there, and the Paladin stores in there. So you can get to each one of those other websites that way as well. All right, so that concludes this webinar. I hope it was helpful information. I've got a little plug-in for June 7th. We're doing Paladin pointers. Again, we're going to do automating sales, promotions, and trade discounts. This will go over everything to do with the pricing plans, the sale list, the different types. We're also going to address BOGOs, trade discounts, any types of other promotions, as well as prompt payment discounts as trade discounts. So some really cool stuff in there. Definitely attend. If you can attend, please watch the webinar after the fact, but that'll be on June 7th, which is a Tuesday at 9 a.m. Pacific time. And as always, you can check out any of our latest features on the help portal. We've got other areas where you can stay relevant, such as the retail science. We have a lot of articles that we syndicate. We also have these webinars. I've got hundreds of them now available for you. We're trying to update them all the time and keep current on those, so bear with us. And we've introduced a whole new set of training videos. So when you have new staff, definitely use the training videos. We have about a dozen right now, where they're a minute to a minute and a half, just real simple stuff, but it really helps acclimate new users, new employees to the Paladin system. So do participate in that. It's very simple to do, and I think they'll find it real easy. All right. I see no questions coming in, so folks, I'm going to take this opportunity to thank you again for attending. Appreciate your time and attendance and tuning in today. God bless, and until next time, we'll catch you later.